His heart was pounding in his chest. What was inside the duct-taped parcels hidden inside his car door frame? Maybe it was time to give it all back to the police. After all, the car came from them. A thought crossed his mind. One peek wouldn't hurt anybody. He was just curious. With a trembling hand, he cut through his first packet and took a glance. His breath was cut short. He was expecting anything, but not this. This could change his life forever. He thought he was the luckiest man alive. What should he do now, though? He had a choice to make, and it wasn't an easy one. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Jamie Buck from Wonderbot, and here is... Man finds thousands of dollars hidden inside car door while repairing window. Before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. All of us have looked into buying a car at some point in our lives. When a man decided to purchase one, he was more worried about the costs than the car model. Everyday life expenses were piling up. He wasn't searching for a flashy car. He just needed a four-wheeled vehicle to transport him. Brand new cars were out of his budget, so he started asking around. Many advised him to look for a used car. That seemed like an excellent idea, but even those second-hand cars were too expensive for him. Where would he find a total bargain and still land the car of his dreams? After looking around for an alternative, he had a stroke of genius. Police auctions. Our future car owner couldn't contain his excitement. Auction police cars are confiscated, abandoned, or used police cars. They are also much cheaper than the average second-hand car. He soon found his gem. His eyes were glued on the car and he was bidding on it ferociously. He hardly suppressed a shout of triumph as he won the bid. A car this cheap needed to be tweaked though, and the new car owner didn't know if he could handle it. Our man fixed up the car as much as he could, but it wasn't enough. One day, the power window stopped working abruptly. Should he take it to the repairman? He remembered all those times when mechanics would charge him hundreds to fix a minor issue. This time was different. He wouldn't fall for it again. He busted his tools out and got to work. No one could have guessed this little DIY session could change his life forever. After a close inspection, his next step was crystal clear. He needed to dismantle the car door to take a close look inside. He wore his protective gloves and dove right in. First came inspecting the door frame and window gears. Nothing he couldn't handle. He just didn't know that something else was waiting for him there. He peeled back the plastic liner from behind the door panel and examined the window gears closely. Everything seemed in place, except for one thing: a medium-sized black bag. The bag was wedged inside the door panel, blocking the window from winding down. He may not be a mechanic, but he was no fool either. That bag looked quite out of place. Our car owner was perplexed, to say the least. He had never seen that bag in a car before. Maybe it was an airbag, he thought to himself. It wouldn't make much sense to place an airbag in the door frame of a car, though. I'll take the bag out and snap a picture of it first, then I will look it up online. Now I need to fix the window power, he decided. A couple of hours later, the window power would be the last of his worries. Our self-made repairman shoved the bag aside and kept on working on the car. His mind was restless. He ran thousands of scenarios in his head on the origin and purpose of the bag. The work became boring. He couldn't take it anymore, so he had to see what's inside of the bag. The man dropped his tools, snatched the bag from the ground, and ran inside his home. He slashed the bag open and took a peek inside with heavy breath. The man didn't know what to expect, but it definitely wasn't that. He opened the bag slowly and stopped right at his tracks. 7 bundles tightly wrapped in duct tape were staring at him, almost defying him. What did they contain? He turned them in his hand, looking for clues. None of the packets gave its mystery away, except for a few letters or numbers written on one side of each bundle. None of it made sense, though. Should he look inside of them? The man knew that these bundles were suspicious. Who hides suspicious packets inside a car door frame? Should he take them to the police? After all, the car was confiscated. Could it have been part of some suspicious activity? Could the bag be the final piece of evidence the police needed to finalize a case? What was he getting himself into? His heart was beating fast. No one wants to be involved in a shady deal or activity, and our man was no different. As he reached to his phone to call the police, he stopped right away. He slowly cracked a smile. He knew what to do. Our man knew that if he took the bag to the police, he may never know what's inside of the packets. Curious by nature, that thought was unbearable to him. He decided to compromise. He would open one bundle only. Then and only then he would decide what to do. If it were something he couldn't handle, he would take it to the police immediately. If it were something ordinary, he would trash it away and not waste anyone's time. What he found inside will make this decision much harder to actually take. He meticulously started cutting through the duct tape. He targeted the edges only, in order not to ruin what's inside. Then he started noticing something familiar. A $10 bill. Then another, and another one. Soon they turned into a giant stack of money. The man felt his heart drop. Drops of sweat were running down his face. He had a fortune in his hands. He couldn't get this much money even if he worked day and night. This was definitely worth much more than the car he just bought. If that was from one bundle only, what would happen if he opened them all? The man was incredulous. He rarely had seen packs of money like this in his life before. So much could be done with this one packet alone, he couldn't contain his excitement as he slashed another bundle open. This one sent him right to the moon. It was as big as the first one, but instead of $10 bills, it had layers and layers of $20 bills. He was feeling like a kid on Christmas. And Santa Claus was particularly generous that year. He couldn't stop. He flew his hand on all the parcels and slashed them open. Waves of excitement were taking over him. The man sat there motionless. He didn't know what to feel. He didn't know what to think. The only thing he knew is that he had $800,000 worth of money between his hands. The twist? It wasn't his. The man sat in front of his newfound fortune and admired it for long minutes. The rush started fading away. Worry started settling in. What if the owner of the money starts looking for it? Is he required by the law to return it to the police? Can he keep it? He decided to turn to the internet for help. The man posted his story anonymously on Reddit asking for guidance. He made sure no one would recognize his identity. He even wore gloves to be absolutely sure no one he knows would spot him. His inbox blew up. Everyone was commenting, his story gaining popularity in a few minutes only. Our man was growing restless. The comments weren't all positive. Some people wanted to go after him. The last thing he needed was this much attention. A man's story goes viral. Everyone swears he is luckier than most lottery winners. Some wanted him to return the money. Some others said this was his chance at joining the ranks of the rich, and many other comments and messages were downright disturbing. His confusion was growing by the second. The notification sound echoed through his house all day. Which advice should he take, and how should he handle his newfound online fame? Our anonymous man knows that no one is truly anonymous on the internet. An ill-intentioned, tech-savvy individual or group may want to track him using that Reddit post, and he knew that they could do it. How would he protect himself and money then? Even if it was difficult, he had to do it. He took one glance at the comments and hovered his finger on the delete button of the Reddit post. The man takes a leap of faith and clicks the button. Everything stops. No more notifications, no more strangers harassing him. He breathed a sigh of relief. What would he do next? He wasn't sure yet. However, he learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes sharing sensitive issues online isn't the ideal solution. A few days later, he will learn another lesson. Once something is on the internet, it stays there forever. Even if you delete it, all your traces online. After he deleted his post from Reddit, he thought it would be the end of it. He couldn't have been more wrong. Many news websites picked up the story and shared it on their platforms. Readers from across the globe were commenting and sharing. What should he do now? The man's story made national and international news. Since she had made no other appearance online, our best guess is that our man decided to stay under the radar. A trustworthy family member or friend could have helped him. The police could have handled it. No one can know for sure. At the end of the day, everyone knew the man who found hundreds of thousands of bills in his used car. No one really knew who he really was. And maybe that's for the best. What do you think? What would you have done if you found all that money in your car? Let us know in the comments.